Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Aortic Kitchen. I'm Chef Rob Seltzer,
I'm dietitian Mindy Seltzer.
and we are the Aortic Kitchen. Tonight, we are fully into autumn. It's great. Everybody seems to love the fall, right? It's not too hot, it's not too cold, not too just
That's
right.
right.
Exactly. Great weather. And also, one of the great things about autumn is all the really good food uh, in the produce world that is available in the fall. Uh, the fall fruits, the vegetables, the squashes, the pumpkins, the root vegetables, all these things that are available. And then the fruit. And what's the big fruit of the fall? Apples.
Apples.
I have some here on my board. There are all sorts of different apples. In fact, I do have a graphic that I'm going to post uh, on the Aortic Hope Support Group homepage in the file section. And I'm also just going to put it into the chat so you can see. It's got a lot of the varieties of apples that are available. And there are so many because now they're bringing it back, a lot of the ancient artisan or whatever you want to call them.
Heritage
apples. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And they use them for so many things because they use them for, making new types of ciders and things of that nature. But there's lots of different apples. In fact, this one that I'm using, this big baby, this is called an envy apple, and it's not even on the chart.
Put it on the underneath.
So we haven't seen it. This is actually the first time I've seen them. It's a big, beautiful, gorgeous apple. It's crisp. It's nice. It's great for salads and plate type of preparations. So that brings me to the next point. When you're looking and selecting apples, because we do a lot more than eating, they're all good for eating, but you have to think about the texture of the apple and the density of the apple as to how you're going to cook it. Nice, the most common, really soft, sweet, delicious apple is the delicious apple. And we have red and golden ones, and those are real soft, and those are perfect for making applesauce, which we're going to make tonight. The firmer ones, like this envy, are great for salads and crisp things of that nature. The pink ladies, um, is this from over here? This is the Fuji. Yeah. I'm sorry. Fuji. This is the Fuji. These also are great for baking. You see these all over the place. Granny Smith's, honestly, the number one apple of pastry chefs for apple pie is the Granny Smith apple because it doesn't break down when you cook it. It's firm. It's tart. Exactly. Everything, all the things you want for a good pie and a pie filling. But the Fuji also works very well. Mindy's going to use the Fuji tonight. The Delicious, that's the one for the applesauce. And this should be my Pink Lady. Pink Ladies are also good for baking, but kind of protected. So I'm going to make a muffin with a whole wheat apple walnut muffin that just happens to be, of course, it's low salt, no added salt, and it happens to be vegan because we're doing an egg sub for that. So if you don't eat eggs, you can enjoy this one as well, and it's low fat. So I'm going to turn it over to Mindy. You can turn that down. Don't turn it off on me. Turn it. Yes. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to put everything back where they belong. Mindy's going to start. I just have to cut this apple really quick for the applesauce. Here, I'm going to borrow your knife.
Okay.
And applesauce is really simple. All you have to do is take your apples and just cut them up. Now, remember how I did the pepper a couple of weeks ago in the knife skills? Just cut it around so we don't have to bother getting a core and coring the apple. Again, this is cooking down to nothing.
And then what do you do with the rest of this?
Right. So take our apple, cut it into small pieces, depending on how fast you want it to cook. I want it to cook reasonably fast tonight. And you just throw them in a pot.
I'm going to bring the pot over.
With a little bit of water, like a tablespoon or two of water. See, I've already got some started. You can show them. Okay, that's no too high, but
I'm right where you said to go. Thank you.
So, okay, out here, please. So I can push these in, throw them in there. No sugar, no anything, just a little bit of water and a cinnamon stick, which I have here, a nice cinnamon stick. Put that baby down in there. Put it on the stove, cover it up, and just let them simmer until they're really soft. Then you can mash them up. You can take a immersion or stick blender and just
or eat them
burn them,
chunky.
or just use a spoon and just, you don't even have to really make them mashed. They'll just delicious, should get really soft anyways. And notice we left the skins on. Why did we did not peel these apples? Why didn't we peel these apples, dietitian?
It could be fiber.
Okay, that's where a lot of the fiber or all the fiber is located. How about the pectin?
The pectin's in the fruit itself and the skin. They have to be cooked together to extract the pectin.
Okay, so the pectin is good for us, and the fiber is there as well. So, most vegetables and fruits, if the peel is edible, you definitely want to eat it. You don't want to throw it away. Okay, that's not something you really want to do, because there's so many of the good vitamins and fiber are found in the outer skin of most of our fruits and vegetables.
Okay, so you do not have to wash the vegetables with soap and water, but you do have to rub them well if you're worried about what's on the outside of the apple. Sometimes they're waxed.
Yep. I'm going to turn it over to Mindy, and I'm going to cut some apples behind me back here, while she does. She's going to make a little dessert.
I'll use the board for them.
Okay.
So
Go for it.
this is, I think it was Josh that said something about apple pie. I said, boring. So we were looking through some ideas, and we came up with apple roses, which is buying the local ready-made in the refrigerator puff pastry. By the way, it's one, and I only found it at one store so far, but it makes life a whole lot easier. What we're going to do is we're going to be putting this apple in the puff pastry. Is we're going to slice them very thin, which I'm not so great at, but we want it about an 1/16 of an inch thick. And as you can see, I'm already over that because I don't like this knife.
Okay. I thought it was good for you because it was small. Would you like the other one, or would you like the French knife?
The red one from the smaller.
Santoku?
Yeah.
Or the chef? Yes. Good.
Thank you. So, as we said before, knife, knowing the knife to use is very important. So I'm trying to make these as thin as possible because I'm going to roll these apples into the puff pastry. And for demonstration purposes, I'm only going to make one, maybe two, depends on how many apples I get out of this. The normal puff pastry serving is 6, and I turned it into 12. That's going to help reduce the sodium that we consume and also the fat calories, sort of. But it's for the holidays, so it's important to make it taste good. So you do whatever you need to do to get the flavor in. So there's my apples all cut. Set them aside. The next is the pastry. And I've already practiced with half the package. And Rob is such a good wrapper. He wrapped it where I can't get it on. I'm going to cheat. Which I can just slip it off. See what he did to me? Look, he made me work on it. So there is our pre-wrap. This is not pie dough. This is pastry dough. Puff pastry dough. So it's got all those wonderful layers when you finish cooking it.
And if you've ever worked with puff pastry and you bought it in the store, it's always been available frozen. But now, like this one, is in the refrigerated case.
It was the only one we found, though.
And so it's much easier to work with. You don't have to take it out the day before and let it thaw and all that. This is pretty much ready to use. So there you go.
What I'm doing is cutting it. Basically, I cut it into quarters. And I'm going to have that one piece there. I'm going to wrap this up for something else later. And I'm going to try to roll this as thin as I can in order to be able to make the dessert. And when you're doing it, you have to keep moving it around. And then hopefully I put flour out, but I might not have. I did not.
Would you like some flour?
I might need some, dear. I definitely need some.
Oh, can I interrupt you for a second? I'll give you
Sure.
the flour. Okay. There we go. We're going to make some mulled cider tonight as well. So I'm just going to pour some apple cider in a pot back here and turn it on. And I'm going to add some orange slices. If I can grab Mindy's board for a second. Some orange slices and cinnamon and clove. And they're going to simmer right in the apple cider.
So now that I'm making a mess, there's one thing I love baking. I have always been a baker. Just terrible for a dietitian to be a baker, but I create different things. My mother-in-law decided, she goes, well, you bake everything. I'm going to try this time. So she turns around and she says, I'm done. I'm never baking again. It's too messy. But yeah, that's why I love baking, because it's messy. And it turns out something so good when you're done. So my puff pastry decided to fold in on itself because we pulled it out and it thawed, came to room temperature. I might need your assistance because it has folded over on itself. Jeff, can I roll the layer with the folded on itself over again?
Yeah,
I just made an extra fold.
You can roll it back in, yes.
So I just made an extra layer, not intending to. But that happens to the best of us. And trying to get this so I can make it for you. Of course, I'm on TV and I can't do it right. So we'll do it this way. So I'm trying to make it be able to hold. That's about it right there. The apple's in the center, and I'm going to cut this into 3 strips. Perfect. As soon as I fix the corners. As you see, I'm rolling it out, and it's pretty forgiving. It's one thing about when you're not making it yourself. Pastry itself is very, very forgiving. So I'm going to cut off the end here, so it's a little even. Maybe we'll figure out something to do with those. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end. And then what I'm going to do is turn this into 3 strips. Like, oh my God, how could you do 3 strips and put apples in them? Well, you're going to see in a minute. So I'm going to take 1 strip that I have right here, and I'm going to give it a little roll so it's just a little bit wider. I'm going to flip it over because I feel a funny space on it. So I'm just going to make it a little bit wider because I have to fold it over my apples. Now, instead of using butter, I took cream cheese, light cream cheese, Neuchâtel, and I mixed in honey and cinnamon. And it was like 4 teaspoons of the cream cheese. And I don't typically measure cinnamon because I try not to go too overboard with it. You notice I'm just spreading it just to make it have some flavor. This is what's going to put the flavor in it. And it sounds like it's a whole lot. It takes a little bit of time, but that's what we're here for. And he'll tell me to move on if I'm going too slow. So as I cut the apples you saw before, now I'm going to take the apple slices and we're going to set them across the top, just a little bit of the apple hanging out. And I'll bring it up a little bit so you can see it. So as you see, I've put the apples on pastry. Now I'm going to take the other piece and I'm going to just fold it over, pat it down a little bit. I didn't do before. What would happen if I brush this with butter?
You have the butter. You did it. Then you have the egg.
But I didn't do it in the center. But I'm not going to do that anyways.
Just
So I slowly take the apple. If you notice, I'm pinching this corner. Let me move up a little bit. I'm pinching this corner so it makes like a little flower. Then I'm just going to keep slowly rolling, making sure the bottom stays straight. But pinch it in a little bit so the apple starts popping out a little. And you just keep rolling it. And as you see, I'm rolling it. It's getting a little shape, little form. Turn it up, and there is your first rose. And we're going to take it and tell it to be nice and pinched together, if it'll listen to me. Then I'm going to egg wash it to glue it together. Over here in the corner so you can't see, but I'm going to put a little wash here. Try to get this to stick to that piece. Then I'm going to brush it all around so it's got that nice shiny color that you're supposed to get. And if you see the pastry so thin, the apple popped out. I'm going to fix it a little bit. Remember, I told you it's pretty unforgiving. Forgiving, not unforgiving. I'm unforgiving.
that was a good movie. Unforgiven.
Unforgiven. So there is my first apple. Did you take my pie pan? You did.
No. It's there. Would you like another sheet pan?
I have, but another sheet pan would be wonderful.
I left you an extra piece of paper.
Half paper. Hate that pan.
That's okay.
It doesn't do well on the bottom, but okay. So I'm going to put it on the pan. And my honey, let me bring it back over here. Rob's got the pan for me. And I'll make more while we put this in the oven. Just going to drizzle it with a little bit of honey. Maybe. And then to make it festive, we bought sanding sugar. And in sanding sugar, it's a little coarser. So hold on, not done yet. Thank you, sir. And then I'm going to take the outside of it and roll it in the sugar. So it gets that little glossy everywhere.
Sparkly.
And sparkly for the holidays. And we're going to pray it stays together and we're going to pop it in the oven. And while that's going on, I'll make a couple more.
Excuse me.
So you can see.
Just one more, please. That's it.
And
10 minutes.
20.
Really?
Yep. So as you see, I'm spreading out the cream cheese spread. This one I have a feeling is going to be a little bit better, just because I think so. No rhyme or reason. And we're going to take the apples again and set them side by side, having a little bit peek out, because when you push it, flip over the other piece, it's going to try to pop the apple out again.
All right, perhaps now is a good time to say hello to some of the people in the audience.
That would be
Yes,
wonderful
please.
while I'm fighting with my
Yeah.
I
apple.
was wondering who was here.
So Christina says, hello, Rob, Mindy, and Joshua. Christina. Velda says, hey, hey. Velda. Molly says, hi, guys. Tom jumped
Hello.
in to say, hello, all. Tom. Brenny says, damn gluten. And Kim McNicholas from The Way to My Heart has joined the channel and saying, yes, oh my God, I would love this, but no gluten. What would be your choice of gluten-free flour I can use instead? This looks
Any
great.
of the pre-packed gluten flours, they all work fine. And it probably, I've never tried making puff pastry with it, but I think it would work pretty well because you're putting the butter in between the layers.
Yeah, so remember, this is a pre-bought. Making puff pastry is a 2 to 3 day affair because it's an enriched and lacquered dough, because you make the basic dough and then you roll it and you put a pound of butter over it and you fold it up. and you roll it, and you fold it up, and you roll it, and then you put it in the refrigerator until the butter gets hard again, and then you pull it out and you fold it and roll it and fold it and roll it and then put it back. So it's really takes a while. I've never seen it done gluten-free, honestly. But if you know, if you can make yourself a gluten-free pie dough with the gluten-free flour, you could pretty much do the same thing. It won't have quite that puff pastry,
Texture.
crispy texture, but it will be very tasty.
I'll put my little drizzle of honey. This one came out a little better. As you keep doing them, they get better by the turn. And I love honey. Honey's good for you unless you're 1 year old or younger. So, he asked you a question. I know I'm the dietitian, but why shouldn't babies up to a year old eat honey?
You asking me?
I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. Because there is sometimes there are different molds that are inside that are in the honey that are naturally there from the hive, and those are not they're not good for babies. They don't have the immune system
Isn't it botulism?
to
No.
fight with them. So
I brushed
there.
the outside of that one. I must have. Okay, so I am done with my apples. They're busy baking. I've got to clean up my mess. As I said, baking is messy. No matter how you try to be neat, there's a thing called flour, and it goes everywhere. Not like corn. So I put them in the oven after I did it. Baking them, I have a convection oven, so I'm baking it at 400 for 20 minutes. If you have a regular oven, you just move it up to 425. And that's the difference between convection, or if your oven says air fryer, it's really just a convection oven.
High speed convection oven.
Well, on the microwave, it's different than the one in the oven.
Right.
Because this is smaller, it's easier to cook in. This has both baking and microwave and air frying and something else. I haven't
Yeah, so
played
it's a
with all of
fancy
it
oven.
yet.
Okay. Very good. But as compared to a typical air fryer that you buy in the store that is just a dedicated air fryer, they are basically a hot oven with a super high fan. Okay. And that is, so the same thing with like in our built-ins, there's the regular convection, and then the air fryer is the high convection. Okay. So the applesauce is cooking well. I just need to cook off a little bit of water, but you can see here, these apples are already nice and soft. Okay. Now, if you're making scalloped apples, it's really the same process, but then you would just add some butter to it once they cook down, and then it becomes scalloped apples. And
You always have to pay extra for, don't you?
yeah, and my cider is busy mulling away. I'm not sure what is mulling over, but it must be a really big problem because it is mulling like that. Okay.
Hold on, let me give you the board back.
I don't need the board.
Okay.
Thank you. So the next thing I'm going to do is a whole wheat apple walnut muffin, low fat and low and egg free. So basically vegan. You take
What was good?
Mr. Puffer is over there like going crazy. I don't know what he wants.
Knife
He's,
is in the
he's,
sink, sir.
he's going to have a heart attack.
Knife is in the sink.
Okay. So muffins. Muffins are one of the easiest baking, what we call quick breads, muffins and biscuits, and other like breads like banana bread and things of that nature, basically the same batter. Pancake batters are all quick breads and really, really simple. All you do is take your wet ingredients, put them all together, take your dry ingredients, so your whole wheat flour, my cinnamon, my baking powder, my baking soda. Okay, those are all in here, all mixed together. And you take all your wet ingredients and put them together. Here, I just grated that apple, you saw me. Here is a mixture of maple syrup, applesauce, and a little bit of vegetable oil. I used sunflower oil today for this. It's neutral, no flavor. Put all this liquid together. Get every last drop. Okay. Now, if you're doing this, I grated those apples, let them sit for a minute. You really want to do this right away so they don't turn brown. But they're going in the batter anyway, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. And how am I doing this egg free? Because you typically do have to have eggs for structure in a batter like this for a quick bread. So I'm using chia seeds. Now, chia seeds, if you've never used them, can be used as a egg substitute, just like flaxseed. Okay, flaxseed needs to be ground into a powder, and you add a tablespoon of flaxseed and 2 tablespoons of water, and it'll soak and make a gel, and that's equal to 1 egg. So this is seed and water, and I let that soak, and I took and it's 3 to 1. So this was 2 tablespoons of chia seeds to 6 tablespoons of water, and look what I got. See, it's if you can tell, it's very viscous, very, very viscous. So this will work as an egg and bind. Plus, chia seeds are actually a little bit better than flax. Chia seeds have great fiber. They have other vitamins and I think omegas, and my dietitian knows.
So all those years that you had a little chia pet growing on your sink to watch those little hairs come up, you should have been eating the seeds instead.
Ah, you remember that? The chia pets? Chia pet. Everybody got them for the holidays.
It's still a good way to eat
Oh,
it.
yeah. And I think they probably still sell them or something like them, the little sheep that grow grass and stuff as their fur. So just mix all the wet together, get it well distributed. Okay, there we go. Just about there. Boop. And we're looking pretty good here. Yeah, this whole thing is getting very gelatinous. So take my dry ingredients, make a little well in the middle. This isn't much. It's only a cup of whole wheat flour.
How many muffins is it going to make?
Well, we'll see. It's supposed to be 6.
Do you have muffin
I may
cups?
have a little too much apple. We'll see.
Did you want muffin cups?
I have them all done. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I do not see them in my
I'm
vision.
gonna leave a little
range.
of this for just a minute. Now, put that in and then just start folding. When you make a quick bread, you do not want to overbeat it. You do not want the batter to be smooth. You just want all the flour to be wet. And yes, I'm going to need all of it. Okay, I should trust my recipe. And just fold, mix gently, folding, put the spatula in the center to the outside, lift and fold, lift and fold, lift and fold. Okay. See, everything's wet. Oh, that's really nice, actually. So I think I'm gonna have a little bit more than the 6 muffins. I think this is a dozen, but I set up for 6. So I have here a small muffin tin. Oh, and I have my walnuts. Well, actually, calls for walnuts, but we're in the South. So what do we use?
Pecans.
Yeah, pecans.
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 Pecan.
Come on, Christina, you're from Texas. Pecans, right? Not pecans, pecans. So I toasted. I always toast the nuts. I'll say that. I always, okay, I'll leave it there. So
Because they're raw.
and you want to toast them when you use them. So that was just in a 350 oven for 10 minutes. So these get folded in. So they're going to be apple pecan muffins. Okay, I don't want to overwork it. What happens if you overwork it? Do you remember, Mindy, what happens from your original food classes if you overwork a quick bread batter?
You can't chew it.
Well, not just that. Well, you do create gluten.
And it gets very thick.
And when it
gets
yeah,
very dense.
when it bakes and you cut the muffin open, you're going to have tunnels and holes,
Like mountainous.
like from the top. It looks like a worm was eating in the inside of your muffin, and that's from the over mixing. So if you ever do that and you cut it open and you notice that, oh man,
What happened?
I got all these big vertical, tunnels. That's because you overmixed your batter. Okay, there we go. You want to try to really fill them about 2/3 or so, 3/4, where you get those nice big giant
You
muffins.
can keep filling if you want to talk about your other stuff.
Nope, almost there, honey. But yes. Okay. And then these are going to go into a 350 oven for supposed to be about 15 minutes. Could you do it over there?
I can.
Thank
I
you.
would gladly move out of your way.
You can do it right there or here.
I got it.
All right. So I guess I will do these over here. That'll be in a minute. Next thing I'm going to make is a apple Waldorf salad.
So, honey,
Apple.
can I put these in the oven yet or not?
Yes,
Till I
the
get
oven
mine
is ready to go. Don't overfill them, please.
up? Oops, I didn't mean to.
So
It happened.
apple Waldorf salad is a Chef Tom knows all about it. Many of you probably have eaten it. This is like back from the 50s. Obviously, it was created. Where do you think it was created? At the Waldorf Astoria
Was it
Hotel.
really?
Yes.
Hmm.
And it is it's a really fresh, nice side dish salad, especially when you have the turkey and poultry. It's just really nice because it's apples and celery and walnuts. Today it's going to be pecans in a chantilly dressing, which is basically mayonnaise that has been lightened with a little whipping cream. But we're not going to do that. This is the Aortic Kitchen. So I'll show you what we're going to do. And also, and then chilled, and often you can put some raisins in there as well if you wish, or any dried fruit. All these recipes will be up on the site later tonight. They're all done. I just have to upload them. But one of the problems for us in the Aortic Kitchen is commercial mayonnaise. Up top, up top, up top, honey.
Oh, sorry, forgot.
Leave yours. So one of the problems with the aortic for us in the Aortic Kitchen with commercial mayonnaise, it's got a lot of sodium in it. It's really not good for us. Okay, fat, well, that's the fat. So you got to use portion control. You don't eat a half a cup of mayonnaise. Okay, but we're going to cut it and fix it. So I'm going to make fresh homemade mayonnaise. It's really simple. I just want to show you how easy it is. First, I have some egg yolk here and a little bit of Dijon mustard and a little dash of cayenne pepper. I'm going to put some vinegar. I didn't want to do this ahead of time because the vinegar that's like a teaspoon of white vinegar. And that's going to start the emulsion. Remember, mayonnaise, you got to go way back to the very first show or second show when I did emulsions and I made salad dressings and such. So we just need to blend this. And this is the beginning of the emulsion. That is the suspension, permanent suspension of a liquid in a two liquids that don't normally combine. So oil and water. So that's the vinegar, and that'll be the oil for the mayonnaise. Okay. So I've blended that until it's light, really good, ready to go. Okay. Now the great tricky part, hopefully you may have to go outside and get the stick blender, but there wasn't enough eggs in here for me to use my bigger stick blender. Well, hopefully this is what I use to make Mindy's cappuccinos in the morning and then her mochas. This is a milk frother. It's amazing. Put a little milk in the cup, heat it up, stick this in there, fill it right up. Okay, so now we just add the rest, because when you make mayonnaise, it's always difficult because you got to sit there and stir and stream, slowly, slowly, slowly add the oil. Okay, slowly, slowly, slowly. This way, using the immersion blender, just put it all in there and just let it rip, and it'll all hold together. So let's just pretend this
You want me to go get the immersion blender?
just in case. It would be good, please. Walk all the way around.
The only way I can go, dear.
Okay, so we have 2 egg yolks, teaspoon of vinegar, some cayenne pepper. I have here 12 ounces of oil. I have 8 ounces of sunflower oil and 4 ounces of really good extra virgin olive oil. You make it with all extra virgin olive oil,
It'll be
it's not going to
very
taste good.
well.
Okay, you won't like it. But watch this. Tom is probably pooping in his pants watching me do this. All right. Then for later, I have some cider vinegar and some lemon juice, just in case.
Mm,
This is an experiment with this little blender.
and I would
You
say,
get it together there. Oh, oop, don't take it out
turn it off.
before
Remember
you
to
take it out.
always turn these off before you
Okay,
take them
here we
out.
go. You got the big ones. And I can also, and typically you would make this with more white vinegar, but since I'm doing this on an apple salad, apple cider vinegar. Okay, put that in.
This seems like a good time to get caught up on chat. Let's see here. We were talking about honey, and Christina
I
wanted
can't
to.
hear a thing right now.
Okay. Christina wanted to chime in with botulism
You can
and raw
ask whatever
honey.
you want.
Too
We don't
much
hear a word.
for babies. Okay,
And
for a 1-year-old. Christina
sorry,
says, I'm not talking to you. Christina says, babies
Why
can
she-
have dish since it is heated
What,
high
what?
enough in the oven. Kim says, I'm a firm believer in an apple a day, apple muffin a day. Bunch of exclamation points. We love that. And then
little
Britt,
more, I think.
I want to say thanks for visiting. And when they can hear us again, I'm going to read the rest of your comments.
Oh no,
Done.
it's not emulsifying. Well, it's emulsifying, it's just really thin, really thin.
What do you need to make it thicker?
I would use another egg yolk and bind it up. The egg yolks will make it thin. Egg yolks have a protein in them that's called lecithin, and you can remember that because the less you have, the thinner your emulsion is. And egg yolks help bind emulsions really well.
So we're about to try it again.
So the emulsion is good, but it's just a bit
Here.
thin.
I got another egg for you.
But I got to do it in a separate glass, honey, and I don't
know.
want. Okay.
There's one right here.
Okie doke. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. Thank you. Right in there. Yep. There you go.
What
Perfect.
was in there?
I don't know.
Water. Nope. Now, if you step over, I will help you pour.
So if that's ever happened, it's a good lesson.
Let me
If
help.
you ever break an emulsion, like a hollandaise sauce or a mayonnaise, let's start with another egg yolk and add your bad stuff to the good stuff. Okay. Now you can see it's turning into mayonnaise. But your arm's in the way. There we go.
One more.
Needed one more egg yolk. No, I think we're good.
Okay.
We'll fix that later. So there we go. Now, do we have instant mayonnaise? Now you can then flavor it. Wait, just wait.
Sorry.
With a little bit of lemon juice. If it's too thick, the more acid you add, that cider vinegar I added might have had a little bit too much acidity compared to the white vinegar. Nice. But if I add a little bit of lemon juice, it'll lighten it. A little more. Oop, there we go. Okay. There we go. Nice, creamy mayonnaise. Simple and easy.
Ears back?
Hmm?
Your ears are back?
Yes, they are.
Okay, wonderful. So, Britt Satchwell says, "Hi, Rob and Mindy. It's Britt. The apple roses.
Hey, Britt.
The apple roses are a brilliant holiday idea." Christina says, "I'm gonna make those apple flower pastry desserts look so yummy." Britt says, "Thanks for the tip on using chia as an egg substitute." Kim was laughing when you talked about the wormhole.
Yeah, listening.
Britt says, "Where's Morty?"
Morty is on the floor.
Around.
You know, where he belongs.
There are the finished.
There's a plate there.
I know. I've got to let it cool for a minute.
Well, we'll show them. Okay. Here we go. Now, to make the chantilly, we're going to take 6 tablespoons of the mayo. So that's a little bit over a quarter cup. Okay. This is what I have right here pretty much. And rather than whipping cream, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of Greek yogurt to it. Just to lighten it up, reduce the fat content. This is a low fat or fat-free yogurt.
Want a little sweeter, you could use a little bit of vanilla yogurt.
Yeah, especially for a salad like this. I thought about it.
Take away the tang.
And again, notice I'm folding. I'm not just stirring it in. Even with a spoon, I can fold this. Okay. Now this is really easy salad. Okay. This will go into the bowl. Mindy, you can talk all about your pastries because I got to cut those apples.
Okay, so the pastry, you saw how I took it and thinned it out. If you had used the whole slice and ring, they would be, of course, bigger and thicker. So these are the 2 I made.
Excuse me.
Sure. These are the 2 I made that you saw. Okay. And then just in case, I made a couple earlier. As you see, the more you do it, the better you get.
Okay.
And then they're ready to eat whenever you're ready.
And these are the envy apples. And they are so big. They're like the envy of my eye.
That is the apple
huge.
itself is almost 4 servings.
Yep. These 2 apples are supposed to have 20 ounces, and it is 1 pound.
The apple itself was
12. Yeah, it's just about right.
The apple was almost a pound. It was 12 ounces a pound.
16 ounces a pound.
Yeah.
Do you like to taste it?
No, of course.
Never had an envy apple before.
Yes, I have.
That was for you. Oh, you're special. You have one.
I have had them. They're sweet. They have a little crunch, but they almost taste like you could use them for applesauce too.
Oh, by the way, how's that applesauce? Mindy makes applesauce all the time.
It's pretty mushy.
Okay, you can take the masher out of the drawer.
No.
Nope.
You pulled the stick blender. I'll use the stick blender. The stick blender, especially when you're tired or your hands, are achy. These work miracles. It's not really good for whipping up eggs. I haven't found because of the blade that the stick blender uses, it cuts the proteins down too much in the eggs.
Apples are going into the chantilly. I have a few more to cut here. And then we're going to add the celery and the nuts and mix it all up. Okay.
I got it. Well, since I'm a lazy person, you can slide over while you're cutting that for a minute.
Not yet. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
One more apple to cut. Keeping those fingers curled, keep them out of the way of the knife. 45-degree angle we all talk about.
Oh, this is really good.
What
Excuse
is?
me, I'm taking an apple break.
Okay, the apples.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to do something now? I will finish this. I'm going to fold in my other ingredients. My celery. Doop, doop, doop.
Take this off.
And the nuts, not all the nuts. I'm going to save some of my nuts for later.
Ha ha.
Hear that,
ha.
Mindy? Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
that's what you've been telling me before this gets here. I'm just saving them. So here's the applesauce. Now, as Rob said, you can add butter, and you turn them into fattening apples.
Here's my
So I'm using the stick blender as well. It does make life easy. If you don't have one, they're definitely worth getting. This one has both a low and a high speed on it. I'm going to use the low speed because I don't want to over chop this. And as you can see, I'm almost done. And one thing I forgot is that we put that piece of cinnamon in there.
Uh-oh.
I did not. Luckily, I saw it and avoided
The cinnamon.
the cinnamon.
Hey, good.
So there was not cinnamon in everything. As you see, the cinnamon stick stays pretty much whole unless you accidentally chop it. It adds the sweetening to the applesauce without having to put any sugar in it. And because we left the skin on, we have a beautiful pink
Still holding.
color applesauce
Okay.
with a few chunkies in there because I didn't mash it all the way, and a few
I have the bowl here.
chew a little bit for the applesauce.
Honey,
What?
I have the apple bowl here. On. Okay. Now, I will say, I did, in my rush to get out of Mindy's way, I love to
Go ahead.
blame her. I did cut the apples a little big. They really should be diced a little bit smaller, but this is okay. My rule of thumb when making soups and salads and things like that, it has to fit on the eating utensil. So making a soup, everything in the bowl of soup has to fit on the spoon. You shouldn't have to take your spoon and break things and,
Chop
cut
them
up pieces of meat or potatoes or whatever. Same with the salad, it should comfortably fit in your mouth and on the fork. So especially, you guys, if you're on a date or you're at a party or whatever, you don't want to be looking like a slob and dropping it all over the table.
I need a drink.
Yeah, in a minute.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Hold your horses.
I think I might have to chop this just a little bit more.
Okay. Put some of those leftover nuts on top. And again, raisins, craisins, dates,
Blueberry.
fresh pineapple, anything you want. A little bit of parsley. There's our lovely Waldorf salad. Absolutely delicious. Excuse me.
I've got to chop my apples a little bit more.
I think my muffins are overdone.
No.
They're squirting everywhere. Nope, they got to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Tells me they're done, then says keep going. Familiar line. I'll be quiet about messing everything up.
Oh yeah, it's been long enough.
No.
So we're gonna hope those finish in time. But so far, okay. Would you like a bowl?
Yes.
All right, let's get caught up with some chat here. The overfill, the more the better, says Kim, when you were making your muffins. Christina says, love the tips and substitute options. Melissa joined us. Apple something. Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
She says, an apple bowl. Cute. And Shauna Pennington Baird has joined the chat. Love the
Oh,
apple
cool.
bowl. Shauna.
Shauna's
Hi,
here.
Donna.
Everybody's at the party.
She almost there.
It's there.
Okay, so we don't know this upper oven that well because it didn't cook it all the way.
So there's our lovely applesauce. Nice and pink from the skin as well.
My cider.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's coming. It's coming. Okay.
I want my
Look at
cider.
these babies. Lovely little apple rosettes in puff pastry with a lovely, you see that nice sheen from the sugar. You can pick that up. And in the applesauce it goes. Look at that.
Perfect.
It's
Now let's
all
cut it.
apples. It's all apples.
So let's
Yes,
cut it in
we'll
half.
cut this one open. I have one right here.
Okay.
Here we go. You see, we have a lovely layers of apple and cinnamon and cheese and cream cheese and your puff pastry. There you go.
Yep.
And I know they're delicious. We tasted them earlier today. That's
Yep.
one of the ones from earlier today because it's not hot.
Yeah, yesterday. Oh, I did do it.
Mm-hmm. They are delicious.
Mm-hmm. Ta-da.
You wish to try you tried the Waldorf already, right? Oh, okay. We'll try it from the big bowl. You're chewing. I see. All right, switch.
Okay.
As
so
with every show,
we fight in the kitchen.
I do have to finish. We usually do. We have a little drink, right? So this is my hot, comfortable cider that has been mulling really nice. Nice thing about making mulled cider is it also makes your house smell really good. Apple and cinnamon and clove and orange, and it's all really, really nice.
I think one of the easiest things to do is just, buy a bag of apples, cut them up. You saw how we just don't even worry about the stem. Sometimes what I'll do is I take a knife and I'll slice the skin around if I make really big chunks so that when it's either mashed or pureed, you have small little specks of the skin. But if you leave this difference when you leave the skin on is look at that color.
So the hot, comfortable cider, obviously it's hot cider, mulled, and it's kind of a comfort drink. Not 100%. So we're going to put in some nice coffee mugs.
All we have is nice coffee
Yeah,
mugs.
these are, as most of you know, Mindy and I went on a 9,000-mile road trip this summer, and we decided that we would, we've had a lot of our stuff. Like Mindy said, we had some china that we've had for 44 years, things like that, since we got married. So decided to change out our cups. So when we went to every national park, we bought a different coffee mug. But these are all handmade
pottery and
American pottery. Most of the stuff is imported from China, but these we made.
They went back on the shelf.
These are hand thrown, painted, and so on. We have them from all the different parks and places that we went to. We have a whole collection. Enough. We put all of our coffee mugs out in the garage. Now, what makes this cider comfortable? Here's an oldie but goodie.
This mine.
Yeah, that's fine.
It is.
This Southern Comfort.
Actually, both.
Okay. It's probably been a long time since you've seen this backwards, I see. But I discovered this a long time ago. It is a drink that I made up. You
I don't have
Southern
any
Comfort.
liquor. It's delicious.
They don't really need much. Just not even a whole shot if you don't want. But it just dissolves. And this is if you want to drink the alcohol. If you don't,
It's
it's fine.
delicious the way it
okay,
is.
yeah, it doesn't really need it, but it just adds another little layer of complexity. It's a flavored whiskey from the New Orleans area. Uh, they're secretive about what's in there, but I believe it's apples and other spices. So just a wee dram of the Southern Comfort into
Bad.
the cup. And now, instead of just hot cider, we have hot, comfortable cider. And it is very, very delicious. And I use another cinnamon stick as a swizzle stick to add a little more flavor.
So
Back-
technical, dear.
Yes, technical.
Muffins.
I know.
Is there a temperature you should keep a muffin at? We know
Make it
bread's
to
about 195, 200.
Right. I think about 170, 165, 70.
Hey, we're gonna see. Step up forward, please.
Can't even tell that it's there. But really, the stick test is still great for muffins and quick breads. Just see if the stick comes out clean.
Nope. It is 165. Almost clean.
Okay, so let's take one out anyways, and we can show the muffin
Okay.
because we're almost done here.
Well, actually,
Is there a teeny one? The one in the back there looks pretty soft.
This
That one. There you go. Okay,
Ow, ow.
we got more muffins to make.
Yes, we do.
You take your
I
little
will.
drinky drink.
Is there any liquor in it?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay. Just had to make sure. I'm not driving. I'm not drinking.
Nope.
No driving.
Cider. So here's our muffin. This one did not rise. This was a lower fill. Now, it's all whole wheat flour, okay? So they're going to be a little dense. It is going to resist that rise a little bit. You can lighten it up and just go 50-50. If it was a cup of whole wheat flour, you can go a half cup of all-purpose flour and a half cup of whole wheat if you wish to lighten it. Or you can make it into whole wheat pastry flour. Now to do that, you take your 1 cup of whole wheat flour,
Take out.
take a tablespoon out, and add a tablespoon of cornstarch, and then mix that in, and it raises the starch level, lowers the protein, and that's really what pastry flour is. It's in between all-purpose and bread flour, so it's a mid-level protein. So that'll lighten it up as well, a little more starch. Okay.
The other item that I think would help, and it's your choice because we made it vegan this time, is use an egg. And the egg typically will make a little bit lighter.
Now, this
fluffier.
is not cooled yet, so I'm really pushing the envelope here, guys. But it looks pretty good. It is going to finish up really nice. Okay. That is just super, super hot. It is just coming out of the oven. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty good. You can see the top, and I'll be brave and take a taste. Quite good. Be even better when it's finished.
He's saying he's brave to taste it because he didn't taste it. He just made it.
But, well, no, I'm just saying it's a little raw yet, but that's okay.
That's what I was looking. We'll see how the.
I got a little late start on my muffin.
Yeah.
You say so. Anyways, it's
Late
okay.
on your muffins, huh?
All right, let's just catch up to some chat here.
Yes, absolutely, because we are done.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah, your guys are out. So Melissa says hello and now goodbye, dropping in and dropping out. She'll catch the rerun later, but she liked it. Britt says, I mull my cider by asking it difficult questions. The dumber the cider, the more it molls.
Absolutely.
She says.
By the way, Britt is go ahead.
She says, piggybacking on Rob's mull pun.
Yep. Britt, he is not a survivor, but he has had bypass surgery. But I met Britt back in college. We've known each other since 1972, and we became roommates, kind of, and good friends, and we've stayed friends ever since then. So I asked him to join us tonight.
Well, that's awesome. We're happy to have
glad
him.
he came.
Yeah.
And you guys have met Paula before. She's come by, and we were kind of like the threesome. So it was 3 of us in the dormitory back then.
Yep.
So
Roger
it's
that.
really great.
When you started making pouring the Southern Comfort into your cider, Brenny says, I'm having flashbacks. And I said, to when you could eat gluten? And he said, and then Britt said, no, me too, college days. And Freddie says,
Yes, absolutely.
no, Southern Comfort and lemon juice. Is there something there I don't know about? I don't know about that.
I guess it's a shooter.
He says, 10:30 a.m. before going to medieval European history class.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
Oh,
about
what are you
right.
doing? I'm just having some hot cider. That was like my 8th grade math teacher would always say, excuse me, I have a cough. I have to go get my cough syrup. And he would go to his locker in the classroom, take it out, take a slide, and went, I think the guy likes codeine.
Is that the
That's
same guy
excellent.
that made dandelion wine?
No, that was a different teacher.
Oh.
That was 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
My 5th grade teacher did not allow them to spray the side yard of our elementary school. So in the spring, all his students went outside and picked the dandelions. He made dandelion wine, but he never brought it for us to taste. It was
Sounds like a
all the
smart
hard
thing
labor of
to
picking
do.
all those dandelions.
Yep.
He was
Right
also the
on.
one that told me not to touch handrails when you ride on the escalator. So I've always elbowed my way up escalators.
Pre-COVID.
That was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I'm talking since I was 5th grade.
Pre-COVID knowledge. So, all right, folks.
Oh, well, hold on. So the apple rose situation, where did you source that?
Where did I source it?
Yeah.
On the fabulous, gigantic YouTube.
No, you don't remember the artist? We want to give them credit.
Oh, for the apple? No, I don't. I do not remember their name.
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
Just you were sleuthing.
I will
gotcha.
give them credit on the recipe
right
that I
on.
post. But we did change it quite a bit because they didn't. They just did the apples and the pastry
And butter.
and a little bit of sugar. It was just a little bit of sugar on the apples and wrapped it up and put it in the oven. We tried those and it was the apples were still firm and just not a lot of flavor. So then,
And she also used twice as thick pastry.
yeah, so Mindy worked on it and came up with the cream cheese and cinnamon solution, and then the egg wash and the sugar, which made a really, really nice end product. So
This is my favorite
if you
one.
want to hold on, I
This
will
is
find
my
it.
favorite one so far.
Give me 2 seconds. I can.
And if you
find it.
notice that even though it popped out, it still looks like a rose.
Yeah, I think they
There
look
is-
excellent.
Yeah, they're really. I don't know where my phone went. Oh, it's in the.
Rob doesn't know where his phone's at.
Yeah, it's up in the thing. I got it. Give me 2 seconds.
So a lot of things that we capture, like anywhere, we have 200 and some odd cookbooks. And sometimes we'll pull out a recipe and go, oh, this is great. And then we'll look at it and say, how could we make it better? Because sometimes the recipes are so old, they weren't very heavy with alternate flavors in the same meal or even heavily seasoned other than salt. So they're fun to play with.
Well, see, Josh, I'll show you this. They're all over. If you just put apple rose pastry, there's multiple people
Doing it all
that
different
do
ways.
this. Yeah, no names.
That looks better.
So if you put that in, you can watch the method over and over, or you can watch Mindy do it. But the important thing is leave the peel on, because that's where you get your red lines around the petals. Like this one here is probably the best looking, I think. Where's that picture?
And clicked on it and went away.
No, it'll be down here somewhere.
Or in
Maybe.
the video.
There.
And that was because the larger apple. So if you notice, she was able to give more spacing. That's because there was more dough in between the apples.
And she put a little powdered sugar on top, it looks like. But that's the skin really the peel makes a difference on that. So again, don't peel your apples. So sorry, I cannot give a.
No worries.
Credit where credit's due.
Well, this one, I can know there these. This is written by John Mitzowicz. This particular one. So we'll thank Mr. Mitzowicz. many others for this great idea. I do get a lot of my ideas like everybody else. I mean, the Wild West internet is a great resource.
Over.
Okay, it's a great resource. But I take them and then of course, I adapt them into my own. So, and in the world of recipe writing, they pretty much stopped copywriting recipes because one, almost everything has been done over the centuries of cooking, and so it's really not a necessarily original idea. Then all you have to do to change the recipes, just make a change, make an ingredient change, make a direction change, which
Put
I did.
pecans instead of
Right.
walnuts.
And well, Waldorf salad is just generally accepted, but even in this, I changed some of the directions of how to do it because Mindy changed how to do it. Okay. All right. I think we're done. Take a look at the muffin real quick, just to what the heck. They don't look like they're done. No, I can see this.
Yep, they're done.
Okay. And what about the one on the left?
They're 190.
Okay. Well,
They
take
should
them on.
cook. They should still cook. I need a place to put them. I got it right there.
Uh-huh. Okay. We'll let you
So,
know late next time.
There's
how
the rest of the muffins. They
Yep.
just need to cool off a little
they
bit.
do look good. They'll finish. All right. Well, folks, we're over time. We try to keep this down to an hour now, which is a great improvement. Our first show went almost 2 hours. So this is great. All right. We will be back. We'll be making a couple of announcements. We'll be back in 2 Thursdays, 2 weeks on Thursday. And that will be the Thanksgiving program where I will work with turkey, everything, turkey and a couple of sides maybe. But the big deal will be prepping the turkey and carving the turkey, which is people have asked me for. And then after that, we'll get into the holiday season and do some things then. Please make sure you hit that like button at the bottom, the share if you wish, and the alarms, and tell your friends. Make a donation to aortichope.org, please. This is all for Aortic Hope, our support organization for everybody with aortic disease, and everything is done on a volunteer basis. So the fundraising is an important part of our program in order to make sure that we can
And
keep
remember,
doing the things that we do.
we're getting near the end of the year, and you may have to make some extra tax deductions. We'll gladly take your funds.
Right. So all those things all said and done. Anything else to add, Josh?
I think you guys did a great job. I'm excited to see how those things roll out. I want to see pictures from anybody else who tries to make the apple roses.
Mm-hmm. Yes, let's
I just
upload
think
them.
it's a nice way, especially when you have a lot of people for dinner and you have lots of desserts.
They're small.
They're
Small is
small.
good, rather than big giant stuff. And you don't have to spend your time cutting cakes and serving pies. Let people just come to the dessert table and
Enjoy.
enjoy. Okay, very good. We got to clean up, eat dinner, get all the stuff put away, make some more muffins, I guess. And we will see you in 2 weeks. And join
Bye.
us. Okay, great. Glad everybody could come. Thank you. Good night. Oh, Mindy wants me to come over here. Oh, okay.
Night all.